Good morning. So last time we focused on home, selfishness, and sacrifice, and fairness. No, fairness and sacrifice. So do you have any feedback from the experience last time, from the satsang last time?
I wasn't at that one, I don't think.
Oh, you weren't? Okay. None of you were there?
No, I was there.
You were there, weren't you? Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Just to pay close attention, it's sometimes hard to.
Well, the thing is while sitting through the satsang, I had a lot of thoughts about my life and my home and, everything, and selfishness, sacrifice, etc. But then I let it go, and I don't know what it did in my subconscious mind. It probably bounced around for a while and did whatever it was going to do. And I didn't stay attached to it.
So often what happens during satsang is just it synthesizes, and sometimes we notice things afterwards. I noticed quite a bit because I'm living in Airbnbs and have no idea where I'll be next. Yes, I just noticed. Yes, I went back to how I always used to be. So when I traveled all the time, just out very much at home wherever I was. And it was this time I wasn't, because I was fixated for a while on where am I going to go? Am I going to settle? Something shifted with that for me afterwards. Hmm. Yeah. And I rearranged all the furniture. So, all right. So let me see. We don't have Ben scribing for us today, so I'll do that. Right. All right. So I'll share my screen and you tell me if you can see it. You see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Good. Oops. All right. So did you come with any words today that you'd like to work with? So before you come, it's good to think what you'd like to work with beforehand. So it's always concepts that just come up a lot and that we have a charge around. They're the ones that are really good to explore. But oftentimes, it's the ones we don't even think of as having a charge for us, such as home. We maybe didn't think of that. Or there's Ben. Oh, good. Maybe Ben scribe. Nothing?
Well, travel has a lot of charge for me these days. Speaking of home.
I don't know why, but the word coercion keeps popping up.
Do you have a simpler word, smaller child's word for that? Think about it. Anybody else got a word?
The word celebrate comes up for me.
Celebrate or celebration?
Celebration.
So coercion, I don't know, I'll write it down, but doesn't strike me as a word. I don't know. Ben, do you have any?
maybe force instead of coercion, or um,
So it's words, words that usually that we're pretty comfortable with, that reveal us the most, but we could try force. Okay.
Just
Anyone
one
else?
that we've done before, but expectations.
Mm-hmm. That's. Mhm. Any others?
Well, and then one that's related to last week, I guess, or last satsang, cause or because.
Which one? Cause.
Cause.
Okay. All right. Good ones, Ben. So all good. So we'll put our hands up. We'll do vote, huh? What we want to work with. So travel.
No, I
Celebration.
changed my mind.
Okay, so it's a fine, but we put them. We can always work them another time. Celebration. One. Put your hands high so I can see, huh? Force. Expectations. Ben, was yours up or down?
Mine was up.
Okay, so then expectations it is. All right.
Yeah, that was just coming. That was partly coming to mind because I had an exchange with a client who was. My sense was that she's expecting me to fix her and expecting other practitioners to fix her. And with cause, she's like, there has to be a cause. There has to be a reason why I'm feeling this way.
Yeah, these are good ones to explore. All right. So, expectations. What's the question? I just got to get a cushion. Hurting. Question?
Maybe just the standard opening, the standard opener.
what was
Oops.
It's like an opening in chess. This is the first move.
Yeah. All right. What does expectations mean exactly? So, you have no heads, you only have a belly, your gut, and you're coming from there. Very first things that come to you, even if they make no sense at all.
A plan.
Well,
Expectations are a plan.
Oh, expectations. Yes, makes full sense.
Expectations are a plan of what's going to happen.
A plan for what is going to happen.
Do we have a word limit with this?
Yes, always. So
Oh,
try.
is it always 8?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
So yes, for years I worked with various numbers, 6 and various numbers, and 8 seems to be the number that works the best. So expectations are something I wait for. No, something. Well, that's what came to me first. So I'll just write it down.
Expectations are shoulds.
Well, can you put that into a bigger sentence?
Expectations are what you should do.
What I should do.
Or what others should do. Expectations are what I want to happen.
Expectations are what I must do.
Expectations are what I imagine will happen, or I dream about happening.
Oops. Oh. So expectations are my plans for the future.
Expectations are what will make me happy. Happy.
Expectations are what I want for my future.
Expectations are what I know will happen next.
Expectations are driven by my desires.
Make sure you come from your gut, huh?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Expectations are obligations.
Yeah, expectations are predictions of my future.
I expect what happened in the past. No, I expect what happened in. No, I expect the past to happen in the future. It's too many words, but anyway. I expect the past to happen in future. That's it. Expectations are my view of the future. Expectations are how I see the future. Let me make these smaller. Sorry. You tell me if this is too small. Oops. Is that too small? It's okay.
I
Okay.
expect to learn from past mistakes.
So put that into what do expectations mean exactly? Because that's a whole different sentence, yes? So let's ask another question.
Expectations force, well, it's not really saying what they are. I was going to say expectations force an outcome, but that doesn't really.
It's okay. Well, let's ask another question.
Or try to force an outcome.
And we can use expect and expecting in our question. What does expecting do for me?
Mhm.
So from our guts, because it's easy to come from our heads when we do this.
Expecting helps me to control the future.
Expecting always disappoints me.
So I expecting expectations to disappoint me. Is that it?
Mhm.
So I expect my expectations will disappoint me.
Expectations get my hopes up.
Yeah. I expect my expectations will happen. Expectations get my hopes up. Expectations help me cope with the future.
Yeah, expectations set me up for disappointment. Expectations give me a goal to shoot for.
What does expecting do for me?
Expecting my future wastes a lot of time.
Expectations limit me.
Okay, expectations keeps me safe. Keep me safe from the future. What did you say, Ben? Sorry.
Expectations limits me.
So, what does expecting do for me?
Ex- Expecting helps me look forward to the future.
Expecting helps me avoid the future. Expecting helps me avoid relationships. Expecting helps me avoid conflict.
Expecting gives me the chance to fantasize.
Or expecting, okay, gives me the chance. Is that how you spell fantasize?
Oh,
S.
yeah, that's an S, I think.
It's no, that's
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
the SIZ. Yeah.
Expecting helps me avoid here and now. Expecting stresses me out.
Expecting creates conflict, inner conflict.
Put yourself in it. Makes me struggle inside.
Makes me struggle inside.
Expecting forces me to be perfect. So I'm also thinking in terms of, with the question, what does expecting do for me? It's not because we didn't specify my expecting do for me. So it can be expecting, others expecting maybe something of me.
No, I was about to write my expectations, but then I went back. We can do that here. Anything else or another question? Oops. Expecting stops me breathing.
Expecting keeps me involved. It's like on the edge of my seat. What's going to happen next?
Yes.
Expecting
Expecting keeps me disengaged.
limits me.
How?
Um,
So expecting gives me only one option, or limits my options, limits my choices.
limits my vision. Limits. It's like lateral. It's
Okay.
Expecting focuses my attention on the future.
Expecting dismisses other options. Well, expecting dismisses other options I might have. Expecting dismisses my possibilities in life.
Yeah, expecting gives me tunnel vision.
Expecting prevents me from seeing you. Expecting prevents me from seeing you clearly.
Expecting prevents me from experiencing what is.
Right. As it is, no?
Yeah, but that was too many words. I couldn't fit it in.
expecting keeps me from living life fully.
I can't hear you.
Expecting keeps me from living life fully.
Expecting prepares me for the worst. Expecting prepares me for the future.
Expecting helps me to plan.
So is expecting necessary?
Is that a new question or?
No, I don't understand. So are expectations necessary? So is there another question? So you close your eyes. I'll read them to you so far. Expectations are a plan for what is going to happen. They're something I wait for and what I should do. Expectations are what others should do, what I want to happen, what I must do. Expectations are what I imagine will happen, what I dream about happening. They're my plans for the future. Expectations are what will make me happy. Expectations are what I want for my future. Expectations are what I know will happen next. Expectations are driven by my desires, their obligations, their predictions about my future. I expect the past to happen in the future. Expectations of my view of the future. They're how I see the future. I expect to learn from past mistakes. Expectations force an outcome. Expecting helps me control the future. It always disappoints me. I expect my expectations to disappoint me. I expect my expectations will happen. Expectations get my hopes up. Help me cope with the future, set me up for disappointment, give me a goal to shoot for. Expecting my future wastes a lot of time, but it keeps me safe from the future and limits me. Expecting helps me look forward to the future, helps me avoid the future and avoid relationships and avoid conflict. Expecting gives me a chance to fantasize. It helps me avoid here and now, stresses me out, makes me struggle inside, forces me to be perfect. Expecting stops me breathing, keeps me involved, keeps me disengaged and limits my vision, dismisses other options I might have, focuses my attention on the future, dismisses my possibilities in life. Expecting gives me tunnel vision and prevents me seeing you clearly, prevents me seeing what is as it is. Expecting keeps me from living life fully. Expecting prepares me for the worst, for the future, helps me plan. Expecting prevents me from seeing myself clearly. What's your experience of that so far? Do you feel that?
Overwhelm.
Is there another question? Expecting is me advising. And staying distracted. So, another question, or are we going to cause?
Expecting helps me escape from what's happening now.
Expecting stops me thinking, acting, and seeing clearly. I didn't count my words. Okay. While I am expecting, I am clinging to the past. Too many.
Instead of happening again, maybe reoccur.
Yeah, I know, but I'm doing it in my language from my gut. Hang on. I appreciate trying to help, but Okay, expecting is my conviction. Past, expecting is my conviction. The past will happen again. Well, it's 9 words, but my gut wants to say that. The others?
Expecting.
While expecting, I can only see the past. Diane?
It keeps me stuck. Expecting keeps me
Where?
in the past.
Expecting dictates my choices and decisions. Expecting dictates my actions and behaviors.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
I'm not quite getting how expecting keeps us in the past or convinces us of anything in the past. I'm
So
sorry.
we're each coming from our own gut, yes?
I understand that.
So my gut says, so I expect all men are violent, for example.
Okay.
Yeah, because that was my experience in the past. So
Oh,
expectations are all about that happened then, so I expect it to happen again. So expectations, so we expect something is usually, for me, when I expect something, it's because I have a memory of it happening in the past. I expect it's going to be like this. I mean, you could say I expect it's going to rain, but in general, expectations are clouded by. So when we do step 4 in breakthrough, we have all these contradictory beliefs, yes? So, but there are certain ones that predominate, yeah, the negative or the positive. We'll cling to those, and that will be our recipe book for the future. Oh, that's all right. So,
okay.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah, the thing is consciously I'd always thought of the word expect or expecting or expectation to only be related to the future. But subconsciously I knew that anything I'm going to expect in the future is always tied to what I experienced in the past.
Right. So for some of us, that came out of our gut. You know, so
Yeah.
we can only get hold of what's in our gut.
Okay.
So this isn't anything. We're not doing this with our heads. We're doing it really
Yeah.
from our guts. Yes. So anything can come out. So yeah, for me, I'd say expecting is my recipe for the future.
Expecting keeps me as the victim.
Victim of what?
Others. Expecting keeps me the victim of myself.
I just wanted to mention, Esther, that even with that example you gave of, we expect it might rain, but still that's based on the past. Like, oh, I see clouds, I feel weather
I
changing.
thought of that afterwards, but then, yeah. So we can only it's actually, you make a very good point. We can only expect something we know about, no? We can't expect something we don't know. So we have to be able to refer to something that we know about to be able to expect, no?
Expecting keeps me the victim of my mind.
Because that's really different to daydreaming. Sorry, Diane, but yes, it's really different to daydreaming, where some new ideas might come. I always remember my teacher saying, men can have original ideas, but it's impossible for women to. This was a philosophical teacher. I thought, oh, I'm going to prove you wrong. So expecting, yes, it's always in reference to the future this way. Yes, it's my recipe for the future, and is my, so it's my playbook from the past, but it's remembering my past. So it's like remembering in the future, huh? And remembering in the present, and superimposing that on top of what's actually happening. And Ben made a good point. So it keeps me involved rather than engaged. And so when we're involved, we're living on the surface. Do you have another question, any of you?
Expecting keeps me burdened with past experiences.
With or by? By? With?
By the past experiences.
Expecting holds me back. I think we had that before, but strong.
Expecting prevents me from taking practical action now.
Do you have another question? Okay, we're going to another word. So I think it follows that we go with cause now, no? Seems those two go hand in hand. What do you think? Yeah? Is it cause, Ben, or because? Cause. We'll do cause. We can do because maybe afterwards. Okay. question? So, what is cause?
You're done, sir.
What do you say, Elizabeth?
I was asking my daughter if she was done with her picture.
Oh, beautiful.
Cause is something. Cause is something that makes something happen.
Cause creates action.
Cause is the starting point for happenings. I don't know, that's what came to me.
Causes can be prevented.
Yeah, but the question is, what is cause?
What is cause? What is cause?
Come from your gut.
Okay.
Cause is the culprit.
Cause is the reason why. Cause answers my questions.
Cause makes things happen. Cause is powerful. Powerful, but what? Source of everything, really.
Cause is the beginning.
Cause is the most important point. Oops. Cause is what is to blame. Cause is to blame. Is to blame for what happens.
Cause is what holds everything together.
Cause is life's joke. For some reason, that just came up.
Cause is my way out of blame.
My way?
Out of blame. Or out of being blamed, whichever.
So cause is how I avoid being blamed, or
Yes.
what causes? Cause takes the blame away from me.
Yes. Cause takes the blame away.
Cause explains everything.
Cause is not my fault.
interesting, huh? Because to contemplate cause.
Yeah.
My gut's going, what?
Was there something above this, Esther? Above the cause makes things happen? Oh,
Sorry. Is that, oh, I left it really big. Sorry, hang on, let me make it smaller. Oh God, I'll be so glad when my contact lenses arrive. This is causing me stress. Is that too small? Is that okay? Was that the same side? Yeah. There you go. So close your eyes, I'll read to you.
can I add cause is the answer to all my problems.
Oops, it's got big again. Okay. All right, close your eyes. What is cause? Cause is something that makes something happen, creates action. It's the starting point for happenings. Cause is the culprit. It's the reason why. Cause answers my questions. Cause makes things happen. So I think cause is what makes things happen, isn't it? What do you think? Cause is powerful source of everything. Cause is the beginning, is the important point. Cause is to blame for what happens. It's what holds everything together. Cause is life's joke. It's my way out of blame. Cause takes the blame away from me. Cause explains everything. Cause is not my fault. Cause is the answer to all my problems.
Causes is my scapegoat.
That's a really good thing. I was just thinking the same thing, but in different words, but that's perfect.
What's our next question? So how do I know about cause? Don't think about the question, just answer
Don't think
what
about
comes
it.
to your gut. So how do I know about a cause? We'll put a cause. How do I know about a cause?
I know about a cause because things happen. So it's like cause because.
Yes.
I know about a cause because I live with the fallout, consequences.
8 words.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So you don't have to put I know about. You can do,
Okay.
all right, how do you know about cause? And you can go from there. So,
Okay. Because I live with the consequences.
cause, no, you have to put cause.
Oh, cause.
Cause. Yeah, I guess you need to know. I know about cause because of consequences.
Yes.
Mhm. Because of
Reactions,
its consequences.
because of my reactions.
So what does because mean?
Because means factor response to. In direct response to.
Is that from your gut?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because means something is guilty. Because means because explains the reason. Oh no, doesn't explain it. Points to the reason why.
Because eliminates my responsibility.
Because is how I explain things. Because gives me explanations. Because tells me what is to blame.
Because points to the cause.
Because says I know the cause. When I use because, it means I know something. Is that too many words? Means I know. Using because means I know something.
Yeah, using because means I have the answer.
Using because gives me authority.
Using because gives me an
Gives you what?
gives me an out.
An out, an excuse, huh?
An excuse.
Mm-hmm.
Using because proves I'm right.
Whoops. Because means this is a fact. Because means, whoops, this is the truth. Those are strong ones, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I don't mean because I said them, I just mean, but that's really literally, isn't it? When we say so it happened because we're saying this is how it is. Okay. So because means this is how it is. That struck me the other day about because. It's such a word we use all the time, don't we? We use it constantly because. It's such an innocent little word. Yes, such an innocent sort of little filler word. And yet, this is really literally what it means, isn't it? This happened because, that happened because. So, where's the one that Ben, you said? Point means I know the cause. Where is that?
Points to the cause.
Oh, no, point
Just below that, what
means I know the cause. So, question. Oops. Can I know the cause of anything? Ben, you had something?
I was going to add something to the previous.
Mhm.
Because means there is a reason why.
Yeah. So, can I know the cause of anything?
Or just because means there is a cause.
Right.
Linda, you're so quiet.
So, I'll read them to you. How do I know about cause? I know about cause because things happen. I know about cause because of its consequences, because of my reactions. What does because mean? Because means in direct response to, means something's guilty. Because points to the reason why. Because eliminates my responsibility. Because is how I explain things. Because gives me explanations. Tells me what is to blame. Points to the cause. Because says, I know the cause. Using because means I know something. I have the answer. Using because gives me authority, gives me an out, an excuse. Using because proves I'm right because it means this is a fact. Because means this is the truth. Because means this is how it is. I know the cause. Because means there is a reason why. Because means there is a reason. Because means there is a cause. Okay. What questions do you have? Do you have it, or do you have more here? How does that feel so far? I just felt myself stamping my foot on the floor like a little child. It's like, so this idea, so it just points, all of this so far for me, points to the profound hold convictions have, and that they're there in that tiny, tiny little word, because that we use how many times a day? That'd be
You
interesting.
don't even have to say anything after it. When someone asks you a question, why, you just because.
Yes.
Because. You can shut people off because.
Yeah. So it's a profound little word, and it says that I can know cause. So is that the next question, or what do you have, Ben? Any of you?
So because allows me to cut people off.
Okay. Yeah, but it doesn't say what it means. Well, then, let's make another question. What does using because, or how does using because, I don't know. You find a question. I can't think.
What is the benefit of using because?
Yeah, I can't write and think.
Using because allows me to dismiss others.
Allows me?
Maybe benefit isn't the right word because it might not necessarily.
No.
Not a benefit necessarily.
Yeah, so let's,
That's what
so how about something like that? What does using because do for me?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so we don't
Using
want to
because
assume
makes me
that there's
feel
a
better.
benefit. Linda?
Using because makes me feel better.
Yeah, using because gives me relief. Using because quiets my mind.
Using because makes me feel in control.
Using because gives me strength. Using because empowers me.
Using because confirms my expectations.
Using because validates my intelligence. Makes me feel, oops, hang on. Superior.
Using because gives me the upper hand.
So I'm putting these in capitals. Gives, makes, quiets, empowers, confirms, validates, because they all are basically saying makes me, no? Do you see that? So because causes. You see the circle in our mind, huh? So when I say because, it means I know the cause, and it causes me to feel blah blah.
Using because makes someone else to blame.
Using because stops me questioning.
Using because is how I blame.
Mhm.
Using because is how I justify.
Using because is how I say I'm right. That's almost how I politely say I'm right.
Using because eliminates uncertainty.
Using because helps me to question. I had a dream last night, and in it, somebody was doing something, and it was I was pretty sure they were doing it to manipulate me. And so eventually I went to this person, it was a man, and I said, "Are you doing this because such and such?" And I was shocked. And I've been shocked ever since, because I realized it was a situation where I found myself standing, actually saying that. And I realized how often in my life I have not questioned people because I didn't want them to think, that I no, because I didn't want to be embarrassed that they would say no. No, that they would say no when deep down I knew that's exactly what was happening. So suddenly, since that dream, I'm seeing how often I haven't gone and said, "Is this happening because?" So that's why that came out for me. Helps me to question. So sometimes I use it as a looking for a cause. I don't know if that made any sense.
Using because satisfies my one-track mind.
Using becomes because helps me to clarify the mind.
Using because in questions, that's what I was trying to get, can help me. Using because in questions can help me understand. Oops. Using because points to motive.
Can you make that personal?
Yeah, I'm trying to point to, yeah, helps me. helps me point to a motive.
Using because keeps me in my keeps me comfortable.
I use because in questions when I doubt myself. When doubting myself. So what's happening in you guys as we're doing this?
Using because gives my life a structure.
I'm seeing because in emphatic statements and in questions, when I'm doubting myself and when I'm looking for cause, yes? Shall I read them to you? Yeah. Where shall I go from? What, the last question? Yes. What does using because do for me? It makes me feel better, it gives me relief. Because quiets my mind and makes me feel in control. Using because gives me strength and empowers me. It confirms my expectations. Because confirms my expectations, validates my intelligence, makes me feel superior, gives me the upper hand. Using because makes someone else to blame, stops me questioning. Using because is how I blame, it's how I justify, how I politely say, I'm right. Using because eliminates uncertainty. Using because helps me to question and satisfies my one-track mind. Using because helps me to clarify my mind. Using because in questions helps me understand. It points me to a motive. Using because keeps me comfortable. I use because in questions when doubting myself. Using because gives my life structure. What happens when I read this?
Okay, I'm going from my gut. Using because is a lazy, is lazy.
Okay.
I
But what happens when I read this to you?
um I
What's the sensation in your body? Do you have any particular sensation that happens when I read it to you?
Sensation.
So for me, there's a pressure in my gut and it's vibrating really, really strongly.
Yeah, I'm feeling suffocated. Just like can't get my breath.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's
Whereas
helpful to note the sensations in the body when I read these lists. What do you say, Lily?
well, I'm kind of the opposite. It's kind of like because lets me off the hook.
Yes, but this is mental. So I'm just asking what's
Yeah,
the
but
sensation in your body?
but the sensation of my body isn't a tightness. It's not a.
It doesn't
It's
have to
like
be. I'm not asking what it
it's
isn't. What is it? What is happening?
it's like I'm just an oozy blob,
Okay.
right?
Mhm. And when you look at it, so it'd be interesting over the coming couple of weeks to see what happens if we notice this in our language and listening to other people, because it's such a powerful word. We see the power it has on us. Yeah. Empowers, confirms, validates, makes me feel, gives me, keeps me, helps me, satisfies me, eliminates. So what's the next question here? Ben, so cause was your word. Are we still going back to cause?
Yeah, I don't have a particular question coming to mind right now about either because or cause.
So when we think of cause, I don't know about you, but so when I think of cause, I think it has to be one particular thing that causes it, yes? So I think of body talk, for example. I don't do body talk, I'm John's worst student. But
No,
so oftentimes the practitioner is, we say we don't look for cause, yes? But at the same time, don't you say that we're treating at the causal level? I don't know what you say in body talk. But isn't there something in the practitioner that you're trying to get to the cause?
Well, I think that's how that's introduced in the basic coursework. That's how it's introduced in the beginning. Always trying to get to the cause. We don't address the symptoms, we try to address the cause.
Yeah, so it is there, isn't it? So
Yeah, it's how it's introduced in the fundamentals class.
right, and you think how often we blame in very hidden language, yes? Even when we say, "Oh, you make me feel wonderful," but we blame in a lot of hidden language. So we already worked with the word blame, and blame always assumes we know the cause. Yes. So when when we're blaming, because we assume we know the cause, aren't we usually saying there's one specific reason? So when we think of cause, we think of something absolute. So it's very black and white, isn't it? Cause and blame and because. And when we ask a question, are you doing this because? So we're always looking for a one particular factor, one particular reason, so it, to me, it shows how geared we are, because we use this word all the time, because how geared we are to looking for a single reason, a single cause, a single truth, yes, in everyday life, an absolute. And yet our minds don't know any single absolute, do they? So there has to be a reason. There has to be a reason for everything. No, don't be. It's in our language, yes, but there's a reason for everything. So we assume there's a cause.
Yeah, as you were talking, I had the image of, well, a few all similar, but like because being, I don't know if it's because, maybe more cause, but being like the linchpin, just pull that out and then everything falls into place. Or like the other imagery was that because it's like the key. Here's the key, and then, but I don't know what the key is. The key to, is the key to.
So maybe that's the question then. So what am I doing when I look for the cause? What am I doing when oh, never mind. Can you put that into shorter? What am
Looking
I
for.
doing when looking for the?
What is the objective of looking for cause?
Trying to do it in simple language, though, so, like, I know that's simple language, but, oh, okay. What is my goal? What is my goal in looking for cause? If you can come with a better question, let me know. I don't think that's quite right.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention when you were, it's funny you brought up the example of of body talk, because that the client that I mentioned at the beginning who said something like, there has to be a cause, and she said, because in body talk, that in your own practice, you as a practitioner, you have all these clients and all these cases, and you're always addressing the cause, and then people get better. And I had to write back to her and said, whenever I'm doing a body talk session, I am never, ever, ever looking for cause. I'm not looking for cause at all. And she's a body talk practitioner who, I think she's studying Parama. And so I said, if you think that we're looking for cause when we're doing body talk, then
it's a good reason why all body talkers really need to be doing this, because yes. So this question, and that's such a good point, isn't it? So you should write an article on that for body talkers, Ben. So
I'll add it to my list.
I don't know if it's why do I want to know cause, or so what is my goal in looking for cause? Might that be the question? Help me a little bit.
Well, this also ties into something that I was trying to formulate with the previous list of using because. It's something like, I didn't know how to put it into more simple language, but using because helps me see relationships or connections.
My goal is to understand the world.
Put cause in there. I look for cause to understand the world.
Yeah.
Mhm. Oops.
I look for cause to get relief.
Relief from what?
I
Uncertainty?
look, yeah, I look for cause to get relief. I look for cause to get relief. That's going to be too many words.
Okay, maybe the question needs to be worded differently. This is why I was asking for your help, because if a question's complicated wording, it's harder to answer it. Yes, so that's why I was going to write. Why do I look for cause? Can we do something simpler? Why do I want to know the cause? And then we'll just the cause. Will give me the cause. Let's just answer like that. Or what will knowing the cause give me? Maybe that's a better question, is it? Let's see first, why do I want to know cause? The cause, knowing the cause will give me answers.
Knowing the cause gives me someone to blame.
Knowing the cause releases me from responsibility.
If I know the cause, I can fix things. So I want to know what caused that. Yeah.
If I knows the cause, I can change things. I can change what's happening. I can change my experience, change what I'm feeling. Knowing the cause, I will become enlightened.
If I knew the cause, I could stop searching. Diane, you had something?
Knowing the cause helps me avoid fate.
Fate? Did you say
Mistakes. Mistakes.
mistakes? Your sound it keeps on falling out.
Or maybe better, knowing the cause helps me avoid future mistakes.
Oh.
Knowing the cause gives me power. Knowing the cause bolsters my ego. Knowing the cause gives me relief from thinking.
I'll begin a sentence. If I knew the cause, I would, and you just finish the sentence. If I knew the cause, I would
Avoid it.
avoid it.
I would sleep better.
I would be in control.
I would know everything.
I would stop seeking.
Why do I want to know the cause? I want to know the cause because I assume there is one. It's very long, but so
So,
let's
I
do
mean,
that because we had because before. So I want to know cause because. Finish that sentence. It's easier for us then. I assume there is one. There has to be one.
yeah, I mean, these two, right? When you mentioned that last one, I assume there is one, and then the one at the end of, I think, one of the earlier lists, I could definitely feel my mind be like, Of course there's a cause.
Right. That's the thing. So we believe there is a cause. That's the profound, profound conviction, isn't it? That there is a cause, there is a beginning, there is a beginning, there is an end. So what happens when we're saying there's a beginning, there's an end? Those will be good words to work on one time. So it's all our mind can do, isn't it? It wants absolute. When it says because, it's saying I know an absolute. This is how it is, because. Mm-hmm.
But then it thinks in the limitation of cause and beginning and end.
Yeah. So, and once a single cause in a world that we don't know any absolute. We don't know a single anything. Yes, our mind's incapable of that. So I want to know cause because I assume there is one.
Yeah, I mean, and then, yeah, I mean, this is part of whatever upcoming articles, and you've mentioned this before, of how that, that just gets wired into the nervous system. Like, this is the only way. It's just have these limited options. This is the cause, this is the cause of that, this is the cause of that, this is the cause of this is the cause of this. And then, but when we see more and more that there isn't a cause of anything now, all these possibilities in the nervous system just open up.
Yes, exactly. So what does, maybe that's a question. So, well, so what does believing in cause do? How do you see that reflected in your own life? This profound conviction, there are causes of everything. There is a cause.
Believing in cause gives meaning.
Okay. Gives meaning to life, huh?
Yeah.
Believing in cause.
Oh.
So I think keeps me going. Huh? Believing in cause. Compartmentalizes my thinking. So I'm thinking, I do, particularly now, I'm doing a lot of Feldenkrais, and Feldenkrais is all about Moshe Feldenkrais, when he developed his therapy, whether you know what it is or not, his philosophy, all his philosophies are really in line with breakthrough. This is why I always recommend, if you're doing breakthrough, do Feldenkrais. It was so. There should always be more than one possibility, one way of being able to move, one way of picking up a cup. Try and find 2, 3, 4, 10. So his philosophy was try and find 10 different ways of doing something. 10 different ways of doing this movement, of taking a step. And so his thinking was to look at possibilities, yes. But we're always, so our minds, aren't we, because we're blame-oriented, unconsciously blame-oriented, we're always focused on cause, believing we know cause and that there are single specific causes for everything. Yeah? And so while that is our focus, we're always looking retrospectively. So here, expectations. Yes, so all our thinking is very strongly geared towards expecting and causation. So all our reactionary thinking is focused backwards. Yes.
Without cause, there's no purpose.
Ah. Right. Without cause, there is no purpose. Without cause, there is no point. Huh?
Yeah, I was going to say there's no meaning.
Without cause, there is no meaning. So what are you meaning? Without cause, there is no meaning. Are you saying life should have a meaning?
Yeah, I was going to add no meaning to life. Yeah, life should have a meaning. And also,
Definitely. Next
life
time,
should have
definitely,
life should have a purpose. Life should have a point.
Have a point. Yeah.
next time we definitely carry on from there. Huh? We definitely work on this next time. That one. Life should have a meaning, should have a point, should have a purpose. Yeah. So just that alone, those last ones, it shows just how goal-oriented our life is. And it's fueled by has to have a cause. Yes. If there's no cause, there's no meaning. So cause gives meaning. We probably said that already.
And so also what came to mind there was my life should have direction. My life should have direction.
Yes. More than that, isn't it? My life should have a clear direction. So what are all those defending against?
Nothingness is what comes to me.
Or not knowing.
Yeah, but yes, the unexpected, yes. So we want to know cause to understand what's happening, because what's happening has to have a reason, has to have meaning. And if I don't know the meaning, how can I know what my purpose is here? Yes. If I don't think I have a meaning, then there's no purpose to anything. So as long as I have this locked in the myelin sheath of my nervous system, dictating my whole view of the world, the idea, find 10 different ways of picking up your cup. The idea of possibilities, isn't something we can even entertain.
Yeah,
So sorry, Ben, yes?
Good.
Ben?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I was thinking about like some of the videos of people who are born with disabilities or have disabilities, and they learn to like brush their teeth with their feet. It's like, what? Or or just the practice of do something with your non-dominant hand. Learn how to brush your teeth with your non-dominant hand.
So that's what happens in life, isn't it? It's as if we have to hit a wall. We have to hit rock bottom before we even look for alternative ways of living and seeing life, usually. So this is why these are some of our strongest copes that we've listed today, seems to me. And we just take them for granted, and so insidious. permeating everywhere in our lives. And what are they defending against? Have to have a purpose, have to have a point, have to have meaning. Got to know that everything has a cause, a beginning and an end. What are we defending against? So like Elizabeth said, nothing. So the unknown and the unpredictable. Yes.
And worthlessness, because if you don't have meaning, aren't you worthless?
Yes, well, that's why we need to explore that next week. But looking
Yeah.
now at what this does for us, it's defending against, if it's defending against the unknown and the unpredictable, what's it defending against?
Death comes up.
And what comes before death?
Birth.
Life, no?
Life.
Yeah, so life should have a meaning. Life should have a point. Life should definitely have a purpose. All those are defending against life. Because they're saying this is how it should be, which is an expectation. And while I have an expectation, I'm closed off to possibilities. I'm closed off to alternatives. I'm closed off to the unpredictable. So while I have any strong conviction, I have an expectation. So wherever I have a strong conviction, I have a strong expectation. Wherever I have a strong expectation, I'm defending against the unknown. I'm defending against the unpredictable. And isn't life that? So all my deep, profound convictions about life are my deep, profound expectations about life. Life should be like this. It has to have a point. That's my expectation. Life has to have a point. So while I'm expecting anything, I'm defending against the unpredictable, which is the very nature of life. Life should be like this, is how I defend against life. Yes, you see how circular our mind is, how, yes, it's its own speed bump. And so while we're looking for cause, we're thinking in terms of absolutes and beginnings and endings. Yeah? And this is how we have the idea that our mind functions in a straight line. I don't know if this makes sense to you, but I remember when I really started just questioning everything because my mind stopped functioning how it used to, because it was poisoned and I couldn't think in the normal way, is when I suddenly realized, oh, so my mind doesn't think in a straight line at all. It's always going in circles. And here I am looking for cause. It's like I'm always trying, I want it to go in a straight line, because that's what I would understand. It has a point, it has a purpose, it has a beginning and an end. That makes sense to me. But something circular, no, I'm just going to be confused. I'll never get an answer. And I don't want just one answer. I mean, I want the ultimate answer. I want the ultimate answers, and that's the seeker's dilemma. So the seeker is believes there's a cause and there's a point and there's a purpose and has a goal. So the whole seeking process, spiritual seeking process, is anti-life. Yes. So again and again, the seeker has to get to that sense of, is there a point? Is there a purpose? There's no meaning. So it's the whole seeking, if it's done sincerely, is a constant humbling of all of this. It's like, but there has to be, but why can't I get to it? Why can't I know the cause. Why can't I know who I am? I should be able to know. I should be able to have, there has to be some ultimate understanding I can know with my mind. So life should have a point. So why?
You're going to ask that now with 6 minutes left.
No, that's the question we're going away with. So 2 weeks' time, you won't just come and say, no, nothing happened. We have a question to go away with. Or you could ask, is there a cause to anything?
Is there a cause? Oh man.
You can take your pick. So what are you feeling, experiencing now?
Yeah, well, I mean, that second question, I mean, that just ties into, the comments I made earlier of how there I could just feel the resistance coming up. Like, is there a cause to anything? Boom, there's the wall. Like, of course. Of course.
Right.
This last bit of discussion has made me very emotional.
Yeah, okay, yes.
Because I've been questioning what the heck is the meaning of my life.
Yes, you see, so sometimes when we have a question and it's just driving us crazy, then we have to ask, is there another way of asking this question? So this is Feldenkrais. So Feldenkrais does it in movement, but breakthrough does it in questions. So is there another way of asking this question? Yes. So there's no perfect way of moving. So as Feldenkrais would say, there's no wrong way of moving, but maybe there are ways that are simpler. Maybe there are ways that are more beneficial. Maybe there are more interesting, more fun ways. So he was very much about, if it's not fun, try something else. So if your question's not fun, if it's distressing you, try another question. And yes, it's very emotional when we come to the questions that question all our questions. So if all our questions are around meaning and purpose and point, and then we ask, is there actually a point? Is there actually a cause? It undermines all our usual way of questioning. But what does it also do? It tells us, maybe there's another possibility. Maybe there's another way. So it also gives us potential, which is different to purpose. So we look for our purpose, again, going very sort of blinkered, narrow in our focus. I want a purpose, a specific purpose. But when we look for potential, that is unlimited, yes? So we think that if I find my purpose, then everything will make sense to me. Yes. So we want things to make sense. So we're looking for something to quiet our minds. But maybe we're just feeding the habits, the strongest habits of the mind by doing that. Whereas if we go, hey, maybe there's something wrong with the way I'm questioning. If I'm just not getting an answer that I want, maybe there's a different way of asking the question. So this is really why Feldenkrais and breakthrough are so very in the same focus, really. has to be another way. What alternatives do I have? And we need to look at the questions we're asking and what the goal of them is. So we often just look at the goal of the question. We often look at our goal. Now look at the goal of the question. What am I actually wanting, and why am I wanting it? So this was a wonderful investigation we did today, yes? Because it helped us look at what holds our reactionary mind in place and feeds it. These are the things that feed our reactionary mind. So when we ask questions now, look at, are they feeding my reactionary mind? So whenever I'm saying, what is my purpose? I'm assuming there is one. So that's what breakthrough asks you. When you ask a question, ask yourself, does this question contain an assumption? If it does, there's got to be another way of asking the question. This is what step 4 is all about. Teaching us, and why we only use 8 words in our questions and answers, to limit the mind, to force it to look for a different way of formulating questions. And the goal of breakthrough is to undermine our habitual way of thinking, to pull the rug out from under it, to keep us aware there has to be another way. It's not what's the purpose of life, what's the goal, what's the meaning. It's like, is there another way of living life? A whole different question. Totally, totally different question. Then you ask, which question gives me more potential, more options, more alternatives, more possibilities? Okay. So, thank you for today.